The Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980. We're always live as well on the free Odyssey app and streaming live on YouTube at the Team 980, where you'll see the face of Clinton Yates. He's a face that's also on your television multiple times a week on Around the Horn, ESPN, of course, and he writes for ESPN.com and Anscape. All right. So, Clinton, you are headed to Colorado, sir. You are headed to Boulder. And how many other media members?
Bro, so you guys want to know this is a behind the scenes actual story. So when I called the person to coordinate the trip, because I'm the type of person that calls people to coordinate trips, I don't do it myself. The lady goes, "What on earth is going on in Denver this weekend? Everybody has been on my phone and nothing is available. There is A, First Take going to Denver. B, Big Noon Kickoff going to Denver. C, College Game Day going to Denver. And the football team is in town. It is going to be busy as I don't know what in Denver this weekend, and I'll be there for all of it." So the reason I'm going ostensibly, obviously, is Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes. Look, the point is that at this stage of what we're looking at with that team, you can throw out everything in terms of football. You can almost throw out everything in terms of results, except for one thing. They haven't lost yet, and they have been adopted as Black America's team, basically. Much in the vein of the Georgetown Hoyas, very much in the vein of the Fab Five, where it doesn't matter who you root for and otherwise, we're rooting for them because we like them and we like Deion, and that's all there is to it. When I see people referring to the Colorado Buffaloes as we, people who are clearly not affiliated with Colorado, that's when you know that the change has been made. And so I'm writing a story about that. I'm looking forward to it.
That's going to be great. You'll be able to catch that on Anscape. Are you going to go to the Broncos Commanders game?
I thought about it, and that's up in the air. I might, but I don't know. I basically told Woodrow Wilson Page, who you guys know from Around the Horn, that if he goes, I'll go. And I don't think he wants to go. I don't think he's that interested in that football game.
That stadium's going to be rocking. Like, it's a good stadium.
I that's kind of the reason why I want to go, because I've never been to the stadium. But that's the only reason I'd go. And that might be a situation where you go for like a half, because I don't particularly.
Right. You're not there to actually like go to Rivera's press conference after.
No, I don't need to do that whatsoever.
But that's actually one that I haven't been to. But I know the atmosphere is great. We talked about it on Take Command this week of Logan. He was like, there's like 5 places I played in my 10 years where I was like, oh, this home field matters in the NFL. And that was one of them. It helped that when he was there, Peyton Manning was there, and they were winning Super Bowls. And that wasn't super fun. By the way, I looked up the box score of that game, that 2013 Washington-Denver game. Not good. Not good for the road team. But anyway, the point is that'll be fun. With the Colorado stuff, do you think? I know what your answer is going to be, but I'm setting you up anyway. So before you jump down the question here, I know what I'm doing. There's obviously a lot of sizzle here because it's new, but how sustainable is it versus flash in the pan? If they lose a game, how does it get handled? What's the, and also I don't think they're going to lose this weekend for sure. They might not lose for a while. They're good. That's kind of the point. But how much of this is sizzle? How much of this is substance?
I think there's a lot of sizzle to a lot of unseen stake. And what I mean by unseen stake is that most programs have a defining characteristic that you can fall back on that you're going to try to pursue no matter what. For some, it's conference titles. For some, it's national championships. For some, it's bowl games. For some, it's putting guys into the league. And Colorado does not have any identity in that context. And more importantly, Deion Sanders doesn't really have any identity in that context either yet. We haven't really seen what a full class is going to do and look like from him. He's put a couple guys in the pros. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from Deion here. What I'm saying is it has yet to be established what Deion's best takeaway skill is going to be. Getting players together, getting players motivated, heck, winning games and putting butts in the seats has long been his skill set. And again, this isn't taking anything away. These were the givens that he came into with as a professional and as an expert at that. The question is, what does he want to do as a priority? Does Deion care about winning national championships? Does Deion care about getting to bowl games? Does Deion care more about, I don't know, graduating players? Or does Deion care about getting guys into the NFL? people forget those are all 4 very different tasks in college football, and it affects how you recruit players. It affects what you do with people who want to come to your program, and it affects your expectations year to year. USC, right here where I am, they put dudes in the league. That's basically what they're known for. The national titles have come and gone, but the Heismans are up there. If Deion wants to create Heisman winners and NFL players, I don't necessarily think that the wins and the losses are going to be what changes the interest in this team. It's all a matter of how you market what you want to do versus what you actually try to do and can execute.
Clint Yates, ESPN, with us here on the Hoffman Show. What about doing this at Colorado? Because my college football history is not super deep, but like, that is the place that Cordell Stewart was. Eric Bieniemy, obviously a big name here now, being the offensive coordinator. He's one of the best and most famous players in Colorado history. Like, there is some level of tradition of black excellence in terms of the players at Colorado. Sure. Obviously, Bieniemy is what has been a traditionally African American position at running back. Cordell Stewart in the early '90s, very much a mold breaker as a black quarterback, succeeding at the highest level in the early '90s when he was at Colorado. So, like, what do you make of him doing this at Colorado and the Colorado Buffaloes becoming kind of Black America's team as you're going to write about this weekend?
Let's not forget about Michael Westbrook, noted former football team player and pugilist, for those of you who want to go look that up in training camp fights. I think it's interesting because of not just Colorado's history as a football school, but also because of Colorado, the place. I mean, like, there's a decent amount of black folks in Colorado, but not a ton, and not any of the sort of outward marketing of what Colorado has really anything to do with Black America. And that's interesting on one level. Not that it's, how do I say this? Not that I think that the task is taller per se, because I think Deion himself kind of eclipses all of that. But very much part of the reason why I'm going is because I very much want to find out, what do black folks in Colorado think about this? Like, what is this like? You know what I'm saying? That all of a sudden, have this dude come in town and everything is about him and his team and his players and his sons all the time. Like, I've got to imagine that's a very fascinating existence to suddenly have kind of a spotlight put on a community that otherwise isn't super well heard or well shown in terms of what the history of the state is. I will say this. I saw an ad for Colorado during the game, and it was like, well, you know how college ads are? They're not very cool. They're typically very corny. They'll show a kid in a lab. They'll show a kid playing music. They'll show a kid in the classroom. And they'll show a kid doing some goofy extracurricular activity.
Right, and then whatever their best sports team is. It's either the football or the basketball
shot. But in this commercial, all the kids are saying, oh, well, we've got prime medical facilities, prime science labs, prime classrooms, prime locate. And it was like, wow, like, this dude really is getting through the levels of a lot of things at that institution, to the point that he even bragged that he might make enough money there for the school to bring back the baseball team on campus. And the baseball team hasn't existed, as long as I've been alive. So, like, the whole thing is just really wild to see. And I am, frankly, I can't think of the last time I was this much looking forward to going to a college football game that didn't feature anybody that I knew playing on either team.
So that'll be this weekend. Read it on Anscape, which you can also find via ESPN.com. Clint Yates with us, of course, Washington, D.C. native, now doing radio out in L.A. as well, amongst his other television and writing duties, as we've now pretty much touched on all of them. But let's go back to the football team, back to the roots, if you will. Like, you watched FedEx Field on television sound like a real NFL stadium on Sunday. Like, did you have any flashbacks? You know, there's that point where our guy Adam Amin and Mark Schlereth, they laid out for like 40 seconds. He just let the atmosphere be what it was. Like, I cannot ever remember FedEx Field being like that. What was your reaction watching the game from afar?
I called Adam specifically to talk to him about this, because Adam has spent more time there than a lot of other broadcasters in the last 10 years. And he was shocked. He was like, you know, it's interesting. And not that his opinion is what I'm going to tell you entirely, but he just said, it felt like a real place. And for me, what was most intriguing about it was to see all the former alums come back. Like Champ Bailey? What? That was a name where I was like, yo, that's crazy. Like, people don't even remember that guy even played for that team, because he got traded for Clinton Portis. And I just, it's not that it felt like the old days. It felt like a springboard to something that, again, this is a football team and a franchise that is working towards respectability. That's the whole goal. For the next 3 to 4 odd years. Respectability off the field, respectability on the field. So there's never going to be sort of you're not going to, take the jump to hyperspace and get to a situation that's all of a sudden, boom, it reminds you of RFK. I don't think that that's desirable, and I also don't think that that's necessary. I think that these new fans are going to be able to establish their own new norms in ways that are going to be fun. It's just a matter of whether or not the team wins football games, and that's where it becomes difficult because, man, he's knocking it around with the Cardinals for 3 or 4 quarters. That's not exactly going to be inspiring, but if they can find a way for their on-field product to match the enthusiasm, I do think it will be one of the more special situations in DC sports, period, to show up and go to, just like it used to be back in the day.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because the on-field stuff is going to take time. But like if there's a meter and they're on that meter, there's a line of respectability. I'm not saying that they've cemented themselves to some massive cushion because that's going to take time. But like to me, the way they've run this organization since they took over, they being the new ownership, they're above the respectability line already. Oh, yeah. Like they've done such a ridiculously good job. Now some of this was pretty low-hanging fruit, but like they got all of it.
Hey, I tell people all the time, when they're talking about strategy and like, oh, they're not that good of a team. They beat a bad team. You know what good teams do? They beat bad teams. And you know what good organizations do? They get the small things right, which is something that never, ever happened under Daniel M. Snyder. So, yes, I will give them full credit for that. Heck, bringing Bob back into the fold alone was enough to pique my interest because I was like, wow, that guy was the last guy that was a real superstar that ever walked into the building. And he could have easily been like, screw you guys. Why would I want to be involved with you? I'm a bigger brand than you all will ever be for me. But that's not what happened. He found a way to come back. They even did it sort of officially. I think that reintroducing fan favorites from the modern era was a stroke of genius. With all due respect to the Sam Huffs and the Sonny Jurgensens and the Rigos and guys who come on your station, Doc Walker and Brian Mitchell, these types who we all love, the newer stars are going to be the lifeblood of interest for the younger humans that are still actually buying tickets, whether the team was good or not. That's the way you cash in on a diehard fan base. Bring back people that they liked because clearly the winning and losing was not the reason why they were there. And that is something that I think that they figured out. You bring folks that are fan favorites, folks will show up. It's a good move.
Yeah, definitely. Paging any of the people in the front office who listen to the show, you have from now until week 17 to get a tribute video for Trent Williams ready.
That's
because
correct.
You want to test if people are willing to forgive and forget. There's your ultimate test case. You nearly killed the man. I'm not going to finish that sentence.
No,
all right. Clinton Yates, read his work from Colorado this weekend when it gets published up on Anscape. Watch him. You're done for the week on Around the Horn, or are you on tomorrow? I can't remember.
I knew Dumas, sir. I will be on tomorrow with, live from Denver, Woodrow Wilson Page.
Are you guys going to be like sitting next to each other?
No, I'll be here. He'll be there.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I know you're heading out. Not too far from now.
I'm not putting all my travel plans all over the streets, but no, he'll be in Denver and I'll be in LA.
Have you ever done an Around the Horn show in the same building as someone else? I guess you and Blackstone did like some double DC.
Look this up. I've done that multiple times, and I've also done it sitting literally on a stool in front of Tim Kalishaw on October 31st, 2019, which was Halloween, and he was Billy Ray Cyrus and I was Lil Nas X, and that happened to be the day after the Washington Baseball Nationals won the World Series.
That's chef's kiss.
Ta-da!
Clinton Yates, everybody. See you back on the show next week.
Later, buddy.
This is the Hoffman Show on the Team 980 and the Odyssey app.